Hello. See here, I'm having trouble tonight with cameras. My main camera has quit. See what time it is. It's time to begin, isn't it? Chat disconnected. Successfully connected. Hello. Okay, I guess everything is working about as well as it's going to work tonight. I'm using a backup webcam, and the colors are changing like crazy. I've got two nice lights here, but the camera is a Microsoft LifeCam Studio, and it is clear that it doesn't work nearly as well as this other webcam that I normally use, but I'm not getting any signal from it tonight. What I suspect has happened, and haven't had the chance to go check, is that it has become unplugged. But it is plugged in way down underneath, and it's going to take some serious gymnastics to find that part of the computer and see if we can get that going. So welcome to everybody, 37 concurrent viewers and 6 likes already, thank you. I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. It is so dark in the rest of the room. Maybe that will help a little bit. It is helping a little bit. The other webcam just does a much better job. Let's try this thing over here too. One of the problems in the room is the lighting is of mixed colors. I've got this lamp here, which is about 2700 degrees Kelvin. That one up there is set for about that too. The fluorescent overhead is 4000 Kelvin. And this bulb here is daylight. So now would be a good time to insert ads. Okay, like, no thank you. We don't do ads on Thursday Night Live. We just talk to each other about ham radio. So, big news on my part, I guess. I went up to the airport today to talk to the airplane mechanics about my airplane. We are down to 2 items that we have to get. One is a small little piece of tubing, or what would you call it, a sleeve, that has 2 levers welded to the outside, and they can machine that there. And the other thing is the rim for the wheel, and they think they can come up with that fairly quickly too. So we've been through a lot of things, going over things, finding vendors and things like that. Hopefully we're now getting down to the final parts. I look forward to flying again. I think what I'm going to do is the first time I go up, I'll go up with an instructor just to kind of, help me get rid of some of the cobwebs before I try going up by myself. And I'm going to do a little bit of flying. I've got a couple people who want rides before I sell the airplane, so we'll do that. Okay, boy, my beard looks green. It's probably because the colors are just changing like crazy. Usually this camera is for the overhead, and the other camera is for the straight on. And I've used the other camera to record a number of videos because it's a real nice camera. It's a Logitech camera, the HD 1080p I don't know if there's any model number on the back of it. There might be. And so if I lean back, everything changes, man. The color changes and so on. Well, I guess you can call this show psychedelic. So anyway, here we are again together, and I've been working like crazy with my assistant. We are starting work on upgrading the general class videos. I have the old license manual from 4 years ago, and I also have a PDF of the new one. And I printed out the guts of it, the instructional material, and my assistant is going through noting changes. And he's, I think, grumbling a little bit about this, but in every job there's some drudge work. Plus we'll find out where the changes are, and then we know what to change and which video to change and so on, so that by the time July 1st comes around, there will be new videos, if there are any that are needed. The League, I think, wisely didn't put dates on any of the videos, but we will make changes as, on July 1st. So you'll have the correct videos for your general adventure. Okay, let's see what we've got. Don Z says, hi, Dave. Christopher Andrews says, good day. Chuck Schreiber, good evening, Dave, and all Augies worldwide. And 5, KVO from the Hill Country, South Texas. Hope everyone is doing fine. Thank you, Dave, for another Thursday night show. Well, you are welcome. Warren Baker says, hi, Dave. Mark Vining, chat is live. Good. Eddie K6SDW. Calm weather heading to Ridgeway. Boy, we could use it. We've had some wind. Let's see what our wind was today. The high today was 40 miles an hour. And that's unusually high for here. The highest I've ever seen it here in this here on the weather station is 57 miles an hour. And so far all the antennas don't have any trouble with it. Of course, I don't have any great big things or tower or anything like that. So, boy, that video just looks green. I don't have any fluorescent sources in here. Everything is LED. See, that's LED. That's LED. That's LED. That's LED. That's LED. Everything's LED. I know that there's all... I've read an article in Wired today. Excuse me, I have a nose that would like to exercise. I say that because it seriously wants to run. So if I need to, I'll put on my mask so you guys won't get the virus, okay? I think I got it from my assistant who's been having trouble with it. It could be hay fever, but I've not been susceptible to hay fever in the past. Plus, nothing's growing yet. I mean, it is still winter here. Now, some of the grass is starting to turn green under the snow. So that's the first sign of spring. And I'm delighted to see it because we have had more than our share of winter weather, although not near as much as in California. We see those pictures on the evening news where there are houses in these villages up in the mountains. You can't even see the roofs. I mean, they're filled up to the roofs. And that's wild. I mean, on the one hand, that's going to fill up all the reservoirs, which is good. On the other hand, it's going to do a lot of flooding in the meantime. There is, in California's Central Valley, there are two halves of the Central Valley, right where the San Francisco kind of juts into the middle, and you've got the Sacramento River coming out of there. The Sacramento River goes north, and so they call that the Sacramento Valley. And south from there goes the San Joaquin River. And I always knew that my grandparents lived in the San Joaquin Valley. They called it the Central Valley in school, but nobody else did. It was the San Joaquin Valley. And what is happening is there is an old lake bed there. This lake bed was drained many years ago to turn it into farmland. It's the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi. And, even bigger than Tahoe, not deeper than Tahoe, but bigger than Tahoe, area-wise. Well, it's filling up. They have no place to put the water. All the water that's coming down out of the mountains, they have no place to put it. So Tulare Lake is filling up again, and I noticed in looking at some of the maps that there are lots of fields out there, but not very many houses, because they may have said, no, you don't, because it's below sea level or below lake level or something like that. So anyway, that's historic that lake would fill up. So a lot of water. We've got, I think, twice normal here in western Colorado. And so we're looking forward to having our reservoirs full. And Tri-County Water, our water actually takes, they take the water from the Gunnison River. We're in the Uncompahgre Valley. And then that Delta, appropriately named, is the confluence of the Uncompahgre and the Gunnison. And then it's named the Gunnison until it flows into the Colorado. And it's named that all the way to the sea. So, anyway, Randy Friedas says hello from KC0OG, New Plymouth, Idaho. Hello, Steve. Good evening from Steve. N7TX in Arizona. And Arizona can get some pretty serious flash floods, too. So, Steve, good evening from Steve N7TX in Arizona. That's the one we just got. Christopher Andrews, auto exposure seems to be giving me trouble. Yes, blame the camera. I'd hold up the camera to the camera, but that wouldn't do much good. It's a little Microsoft thing we got several years ago when I needed a webcam for something. And then I needed another one, and so I got this Logitech. And this Logitech is a far better camera than what we've got here. This Microsoft is a Microsoft LifeCam Studio, and it's having real problems locking in on the coloring, and it's going all over the place. So it's my backup, and auto exposure too. Okay, David AC3HT, hello Dave and all Augies, 28 degrees Fahrenheit in the mountains of northeastern Pennsylvania. Good grief, and Dayton's just around the corner. It is 34 degrees here. It was like in the mid-40s when I went up to the airport. And rain. We had rain today. Okay, Don Zed, winter storm watch for tomorrow in central Minnesota. Glenn Martin, hello from far west Missouri area. N0QFT, hello Glenn. Bradley Erickstad, hello Dave from Port Aransas, Texas, where the sand is warm and the waves on the Gulf of Mexico welcome you. W5BRE. Yeah, it's got to be warmer down there than it is here, that's for sure. Dr. Chaz KE0OG, glad I made the live stream. And Heartborn Treasures, hello Dave from Ball Ground, Georgia. Phil KM4UTV, Steve Scat Tubing. That's an interesting thing, I don't know. Mike McBride, KJ6MGV, greetings Augies. Michael King. No, Thomas King. Hi, Dave. Greetings from northwestern NWA. I would say northwestern Arizona or northwestern Arkansas. But he's got a 6 call sign, KK6IZK. Thomas, hello. Ray Maffett has checked in. Phil Bartlett says thank you. W3OY, Ray Maffett. Hello all from W3OY. Read AB8AS. We are expecting wind gusts 60 plus on Saturday night here in Barbersville, West Virginia. I got to tell you, it has been very windy here. I was driving home from the airport down Highway 550, or Highway 50 at that point, and I was trying to figure out which direction the wind was coming from. There was a flag at the RV place, and it was pointed directly away from me. We had a direct crosswind, and that flag was out straight, so it was a pretty good breeze. Okay. Dave Whittinger. Hi, Dave, in beautiful Tampa Bay. K3JAJ. I used to live in Tampa when I was in the Air Force, and as far as I can tell from Google, my house is still there. I bought that house for $26,500 on the GI Bill. I was in the Air Force, and I got to tell you, I had no idea how I was going to make that payment. It was $250 a month. That was a leap of faith. We had been in an apartment at $230 a month, and the electricity and all that sort of stuff was all part of the rent. So now we had to go pay our own way, and it was... but what I discovered when we sold for quite a bit more, that when you stopped and figured out all the dollars and cents, Tampa paid us to live there. So that was pretty cool. And I says, you know, I think I'll own my home wherever I go now. So my daughter's looking for a condo down in Broomfield. Let's see. Christopher Andrews. We can see what we need to see. Hi. W3OY, Ray Meffett. AB8AS, we're under the same advisory here near Pittsburgh. Read AB8AS. Ray Moffitt, stay safe up there. Whoops. Jumping down on me. Let's say Mike McBride, KJ6MGV. Video looks good to me. It seems a little darker to me, and the color keeps changing. So anyway, I think what happened to this other camera is somehow in all the stuff here, it got unplugged. However, the back of the computers takes some gymnastics to get to, so we'll have to follow that cord and see what happens. W3OY, I'm happy that I swapped out my HF antenna's wire from 18 to number 13 polystealth copper-clad steel. At least that'll survive. Yes. And if you put some spring in it, like a bungee cord, not a bungee cord stretched all the way, but a bungee cord stretched about halfway, then it'll really help it even more. Better than a mass hanging down on a pulley. Mass is the equivalent in mechanical terms of inductance. It lags. So the thing pulls the wire, the thing comes up, and then it doesn't pull the wire, and the thing falls like that and snaps your antenna. Whereas a spring is the equivalent in actual things of capacitance, so it actually leads the perturbation. So it can stretch out there and come right back without getting zapped. Kind of interesting. The equivalent of resistance in physical things is friction. Friction. So it's kind of hard to think of it that way, but that is the fact. Because friction produces heat. And the same as resistance produces heat. And friction is not reactive. If you stop moving, the friction stops. immediately. There's no lag or lead or anything like that. But if you try to move mass, the inertia holds it back. Okay, it's like inductance. The current will be held back by the inductance, and the same with the spring. Okay, hello Roy, hiya JW. Dave, what is the difference between a 4-to-1 ballon and a 1-to-4? It's how you put it in. Flip it over, it's the other way. We normally put the higher number first and the other number the other way. A 4-to-1 ballon is used for matching 200 ohms to 50. And you can go the other way. Just take the same ballon, flip it around, 50 to 200. Okay, that's a 4-to-1 ballon for you. We normally put the higher number first just out of convenience. But even if we say 4-to-1 ballon, usually the input is a 50 ohm coax and the output is a 200 ohm something. Okay, like a piece of an antenna or something like that. Pete Dayton's channel, Past My General. Woohoo! All right. Now to an antenna. 1, a ground plane vertical. Do all the radials need to be equal distant? No, they don't. Where I can put a vertical, I can't put vertical. I'm assuming radials of equal length. Don't worry about that. Just put it up. Put out the radials that you can. I would shoot for about 30. Go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and get yourself a roll of wire. I should keep it in here so I could show it to you because I keep mentioning it. It is a roll of THHN white insulated stranded 7 strands of 14 gauge wire. It's technically house wire. You get like 250 or 500 feet on a roll. You cut a lot of insulators with that. I recommend insulated radials because it minimizes the DC contact with the ground. I once put a bunch of buried radials in, and they didn't help a bit. And when I went and learned more about this, I discovered what I had created was a very good ground, but it was not a good counterpoise. And that's what you want the radials for, is counterpoise for the vertical. By the way, there is a reference station. If you go to dcasler.com/reference, just the word reference, lowercase, it lays out a complete general station. Now you can use this as a reference. That means you can refer to it. And you look at it, oh, I need that, I need this, I need that. If you bought everything recommended in the reference station, you'd have a very nice station. But you may prefer Yaesu to ICOM. ICOM 7300 is the reference radio. The antenna is the MFJ 2010, but it is 66 feet long, which might be a problem for you. So your vertical might be a better idea. Now, you can buy verticals. They're expensive. I mean, the reference antenna is like $80, maybe 90. I would recommend a vertical along the lines of the Cushcraft high gain AV640, which is freestanding. Well, it's not quite freestanding. You need to put it on a pipe, get it up about 10 feet off the ground. It has some counterpoises, but it does not need radials because it's an electrical half wave. Okay, so you can put that up and not need any radials on the ground. And that's a good antenna, and it will do all the bands from 40 through 10 and maybe even 6. So that's something that you can look at. I mean, there's a million different antennas. I would recommend, if you can, starting with a dipole of your own manufacturer, and I've got videos on that. So anyway, Pete, congratulations. KE0OG Oh, for IRD. Congratulations. And let's see. Arnold Schmidt says 30. 30 is the old Phillips code for end of text and was used for many years in the newspaper industry. Authors would write 30, the numbers 30 at the bottom of their page, meaning end of text. So Larry Fields, whoops, where did Larry Fields go? Good morning from DU1 land and hope all is well. It's 24 to 34 C, that's pretty warm. In Germany, Reed AB8AS, congratulations on passing the general to Pete Dayton. Very good. President's pilot, Dave, speaking as I was a jet pilot, just have your instructor do some touch and goes with you. And you note the touchdown picture just as you contact the runway. Yeah, I just want to go over it. I know exactly what went wrong on that landing. I got badly distracted by a pair of malfunctioning headphones, and what I should have done was tear them off and just land. Or, better yet, go around and try landing without messing with the headphones. This is an uncontrolled airport. Traffic's not that heavy, so, and, you know, they say aviate, communicate, or aviate, navigate, and communicate. Well, I was trying to communicate instead of aviating properly. That's what went wrong. Okay, William Schwartz, hi from Bill. AE7AO, I'm out in Idaho. Hello. I've actually been to Idaho a few times. Let's see, David AC3HT has added $10 to the channel funds, and his message is channel funds. And I appreciate all that to that. I really do. You know, I'd love to bring you these free. And most of the people take them on that basis, and that's just fine. I don't expect you to pay for anything. But if you would like to throw something in the channel funds, it really does help out. For example, I pay my assistant. And it's spring break for him, so he's working Wednesday, and Friday, and the poor kid is skiing Tuesday and today. Poor guy. That's what you get for growing up in Colorado. I think he's probably down at Telluride, which is a nice big ski resort down there. Pensman, hi all, looking good, sir. Victor Echo to Bravo Kilo Tango. Phil KE0OG, hello to all from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Lefty says, congratulations, Pete, on passing your general. Absolutely. Larry Field, still looking for parts for my 2 radios from the DU1, Germany. No, Manila. Now, it was 50 years ago I was there. And we had a houseboy who liked to tinker with radios, and he built his own, asked me to troubleshoot it for him. Turned out to be a capacitor lug touching the chassis where it shouldn't. But I was told you could get components, any kind of components you wanted from the shops there. That's probably changed in 50 years. Someday I would like to go back there. John Ward, hello Dave from W3OJ, hello. Chris Kleeschulte, hello from Palm Coast, Florida, K1 Kelly. William Swartz, I'm out hurt from San Joaquin Valley. Steve, you were talking about the airplane and we're trying to identify a type of tubing. So I was guessing scat tubing. It's steel. It's just this little sleeve that fits over a larger tube, or fits over a smaller tube. It's this sleeve, it's about that high. And it's got 2 tabs on it with holes in it. And the rudder pedals, when you push the rudder pedals, it causes the front wheel to turn. And that's the little piece that we need. And they're just going to machine it because it's very simple. Cut a piece of tubing, weld a couple things to it, paint it black, and you're done. It is steel, and critical parts of the airplane are steel. The airplane is made of steel, aluminum, like in the wings, all aluminum, and fabric covering. Okay, the fabric covering, which I was a little leery about at first, but it works just fine. I've not had any trouble with the fabric covering, so. But I do hanger it. I don't leave it out in the sun. Okay, I'm a pilot too, and aircraft broker, so I know aircraft very good. Okay, I wish you great success in your next landings. From K6PAM, Ron. Chris K. Hi, Dave. You have been my teacher, allowing me to get my general license as a new ham. Thanks so much. You are most certainly welcome. It's gratifying to me to see that. Scott Wheelhouse, North Central Illinois. High winds, tornadoes tomorrow could be really bad. That tornado, this was an EF4 that went through the south there. They were talking EF3 at the beginning. EF4 is a serious tornado. I guess the biggest is EF5, and EF5 can have a funnel cloud a full mile across. Now, if an EF5 hits some major city, I mean, we could be talking skyscrapers falling over. I mean, there are just the power within the wind. The wind pushes on something, okay? And the force is proportional to the cube of the wind speed. So a 2-mile-an-hour wind versus a 4-mile-an-hour wind speed is the same as 4 versus 9. No, 4 versus 16. It's just amazing, the difference in it. And, of course, you get that in aircraft, too. It takes a lot of power to go slip through that nice, fluffy air. My aircraft engine is a Jabiru 3300 and is supposed to make about 120 horsepower. I think maybe 100 at this altitude. And so, anyway, I'm looking forward to flying again. Okay, Scott Wheelhouse, KW3OY, JW Great CW call. I find that all the DAWs can really break a pile up. There you go. Chris K, KF0LUJ. John Henry, hello Dave. I live in the 5th floor of a 7-story apartment building on the north-facing side. The building is surrounded by even taller office buildings in a major city downtown area. Yeah, if you can, I mean, if you've got a balcony, put a mag loop or something like that out there. MFJ makes a balcony antenna that's based on the hamstick. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can try. A lot of those, you say 7 stories, it's probably not all concrete then. A taller building would be mostly concrete. Boy, those buildings are just plain heavy. Let's see. Oops. Okay. This thing pops up on me. Any advice on making a station ground and an antenna ground? Yeah, for John, probably a counterpoise of some sort. Make sure the kids can't touch the end of it. Make sure it's insulated wire. But just a counterpoise running behind you might give you as much as you can get in terms of grounding for that. No point in trying to ground to the water pipes because they're not copper anymore. So that wouldn't help you. So that's what I would recommend, something like that. Larry Fields, is there a website that shows the POTA want to see if I can hear and work one. Yes, let's find that for you. View here. Leo Gustafson, hi David all Augies. Leo KK7CLY, visiting from Albany, Oregon. Yes, I imagine cool rainy days up there. Butch da Polito. Dave, what is your final thoughts on the DX Commander antenna? Okay, DX Commander is the name of the company, and they make a variety of antennas. The antenna that I looked at was the DX Commander Classic. It's what you would call a fan vertical. It's plastic, so it can be collapsed fairly readily and taken portable. It doesn't really have a base per se. I mean, nothing to stick in the ground, so you will have to guy it. But that's easy enough to do. Just take some concrete blocks with you to hold the 3 points down. Put something there so some kid doesn't trip on it. But the antenna itself worked fine. It's a vertical. It's not better or worse than any other vertical. It's just a vertical. And we put the thing together and did the testing, and it worked fine. Now, what I was actually trying to rate, and somehow, no matter how many times I say this, it doesn't get through to the DX Commandos. What I was really interested in evaluating was the manual. And I will tell you, version 1.16 of the manual was junk. However, version 1.18 was far better. And that was what the second video is about, and I think the third. And my just previous assistant, actually, was my test, seeing if a very bright 18-year-old could put this thing together. And Callum did, and we got it up. First time he put it up, it collapsed on him. So he went back and reread the instructions a little more carefully this time, and watched the videos, and was successful getting it up. Do I recommend it? It's less expensive than other verticals. It does need radials, okay, but you can get radial wire with it. In fact, I bought the extra radial wire We did 10-foot radials, which are a little on the short side, but we had a lot of them. And the antenna worked just fine. I fed it from here with LMR 400, with Times Microwave connectors on them. Times Microwave just sent me a bunch of new stuff, kits to crimp connectors, a bunch of connectors, some coax to try it on, and things like that. And I think that's wonderful. We'll have that in future videos coming up. Okay. So would I recommend the antenna to a new ham? Yeah, but get some help. It's a fan antenna, and that's not something a new ham normally builds. So I would recommend that if you're going to get that antenna, you talk to some club members, so on. Don't try to put it together by yourself. You can put it together in a day, which is not something you can say for the high gain AV640. That'll take you a couple days. There's about 200 parts to that thing. So okay, I need a BFR as soon as it warms up. BFR. My daughter would know what that means, but I don't. Alvin Norris warms up. Yes, okay. Leo. MFJ told me today that the PC interface cable will be in line for manufacture in 2 weeks. PC interface cable. I remember you talking about that, but I don't remember what it was for. So refresh my memory, Leo. Have you got a mountain bad cold? Actually, the only part of me that is having trouble is a little spot right in here on the inside that is just dripping like crazy. It was really bad earlier today, but got better with time. You know, I don't think it's allergies because nothing's growing yet. A little grass, that's about it. I don't know if the trees are putting out pollen or what, but I have not had hay fever problems in the past, but boy, that's sure what it feels like. Okay, Scott Wheelhouse, KC9SIW, North Central Illinois, 4 out of 5 on severe weather scale tomorrow. Well, hang on to your hat. That area is famous for wind. For that MFJ 461 keyer reader. Oh, good. That should be very interesting to play with. Now, let's see what the MFJ 461 is. We'll go over. That thinking that it's going to be the do-all, end-all, be-all of Morse code receivers. It will receive machine-sent Morse code. So if you go like to the W1AW practice broadcasts, which are machine-sent, it will be beautiful code. Another thing that you can do is during contests, a lot of people set up their stations so that the contest exchange they can get just by pushing a button. And that code is machine sent, which should be very readable like that. So it can probably really help you out in a contest. As far as DXing and just rag chewing, it's going to have trouble with human sent Morse code. I did my master's thesis on the subject of machine decoding of Morse code and concluded that it's hard. It's really hard. Maybe there are some pieces of software around these days that give a sort of a newer twist to interpreting hand-sent Morse code. Somebody gave me the name and I lost it. I'd like to take a look at that. I think it's going to take artificial intelligence to do that, because you've got anybody who tells you that Morse code is a digital mode is nuts. It's very much an analog mode. Yeah, it's a 1 or a 0, but the time that it goes up and the time that it comes down are highly variable and operator dependent. I found, after studying some of my own Morse code sending, I tend to send dashes that are 6 times as long as the dots instead of 3 times. And it's just the way it comes out. And everybody has told me that I send Morse code really nicely. Well, I'm certainly not sending it according to spec. And it would confuse a machine like yours. So give it a try. We'll be very interested to hear about it, Leo. Okay, Lefty Pete, now that you're a general, you can now work on becoming a volunteer examiner. You can, but you can only give technician tests. But that may be fine for what you would like. I would, my recommendations, here's my standard recommendation, and you can ignore it or do whatever you want with it. Stay a general for 2 years. Get on the air, get lots of HF experience. And then you'll be ready to take that extra exam, and it will mean a great deal more to you than just another piece of paper. It'll mean a lot more. So it took me 21 years from the time I got my advanced until the time I got my extra. And I had put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off. And I was working with a group of youth, and we had one youth who was coming up on extra. And I wasn't going to let a teenager beat me to extra. So I got myself in gear and got my extra. So there we go. Okay, but yes, you can. As an extra, you can administer with the other 2 examiners, any of them. As a general, you can help administer the technician tests. Okay, Leo finally joined the ARRL today. Thumbs up for that. I was putting some stuff into Quicken yesterday, and I came across the receipt for gasoline that I had paid for the Jeep. It was like $68.